it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
Is this place dangerous? It feels...
Unnatural, yes. We are, however, in no immediate peril. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I was safe from those who hunted me, but only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key?
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
If most of these mirrors are broken or locked, then what use are they?
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon. "'Tis a large fortress, Inquisitor. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
You seem to know a great deal about Elven...
The Dalish are not the only ones interested in the distant past, Inquisitor. Indeed, my skills allow me access to places the ancient elves hold secrets they have not yet given up. Secrets about the foundation of Thedas itself. Thus, they are my focus. Corypheus clearly feels the same.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up...
'Tis remarkable what you have... Soldiers are camped outside Skyhold in numbers that would give any nation pause. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
I'd like to know more about you.
Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Kukari wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. We did not part on good terms. I regret a great deal, but that... most of all. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
It's odd that an apostate could live so... openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
I leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.
Though the darkness comes upon me, I shall embrace the light. I shall weather the storm.
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So, they ask that we judge her.
There is worth and weight in every judgment, no matter how unusual.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
Strangely enough, something similar happened to an uncle of Emperor Leandra II. His trade routes were returned to the reigning monarch. Why don't we just follow suit?
A wise choice. Thank you for making it swiftly.
You seem to enjoy yourself at the Winter Palace, Liliana. Or was that part of the game?
Perhaps it was both. Let's see what we have. At your service.
Inquisitor.
How
Liliana says the guests are on their way.
of the game again.
The last inheritance
The last
is
time I was
discovered,
at Alam
and
Shiral
Taupe
was
is not a
Countess
spring color.
Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was unmasked, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
The nobility needed a shock.
I agree The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The nobles of Orlais were worried about their own health.
Some must have purposefully turned a blind eye. There's often room for advancement when... But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
At least all this tedious maneuvering got us something.
You navigated it well. The Inquisition's reputation... Although I do wish Varric would show a bit more restraint. I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
I assume that means...
You're quite... Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy... King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevarra instead of Tevinter.
I actually have relatives in Navarra. If you reason with the Archon, Trevelyan's can persuade King Marcus we should help both countries.
Letting the Inquisition curry favor with both Tevinter and Nevarra. Most ideal.
Greetings again, Inquisitor.
I trust every...
We're mostly relieved. An alliance with the Inquisition...
I'll leave you to it.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. All this dancing, politics, and murder... makes me a bit homesick.
That's...
Who wouldn't? All the drama, Back home, we engage in social affairs. Less fun when... I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating. I see. What's the latest news on the us front?
I was hoping to... Let them.
The Empress has gifted us with a selection of rare books. I can't wait till they arrive.
A request has been made of you, Inquisitor. Here it is.
What is your evaluation of how we're doing?
I am able to pursue my duties with optimal efficiency, thanks to Skyhold's present state.
As you were.
Yes, Inquisitor.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. How may I help you?
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
Dead people usually don't send messages.
And I see you feel it necessary to inform me of this. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.
Here we are again.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Popular topic. Anything specific?
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was...
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power... The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like cannon. The Magisters, who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more. Fair enough. I see. What's the latest news?
I was... Let them.
All right.
There are spirits hovering by the Veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
I'm pleased you had a good time.
Political gambits, broken promises, half-truths. It is a palace full of motivation, and motivation is where great things happen. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Nor should you. You're not defined by the shape of your ears. They're not your people.
No, they are not. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Even if we couldn't help Briala, I hope we can make life better for our Elysian elves.
Stop Corypheus. It speaks well of you to feel for the oppressed. Help them for that, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears. How can I help?
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elf...
Perhaps you could ask Sarah. She has... opinions.
You don't much care for Sarah, do you?
I pity her. Although I imagine she would detest that. Perhaps in truth, I envy her. She has a purity of purpose that I lack. I have observed too much and done too little. What do you wish to know?
Is elven magic different from the magic used by humans?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Baelish magic is more practical, not needing Chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition. Much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
The legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Devinter disapproves of it. But as I said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
To be honest, I don't see it as different from any other magic. It's a means to an end.
Indeed. The problem is that under the Chantry, blood magic is forbidden, so only criminals practice it. While in Tevinter, magisters compete with each other, instead of keeping their volatile friends in check. They always succeed through power, so they have never had the chance to learn another way.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Hallam Sharal. But Hallam Sharal was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the Empire, and Arlathan its greatest city. Place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember...
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the Empire, and Arlathan its great...
You've studied ancient elves.
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish Erebels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing. That is what was lost.
I'd like to know more about...
It is a mistake to think of the Dalish as a single group. They have lived as separate. As a consequence, each clan has learned, interpreted, and forgotten. Some trade freely with humans, or adopt city elves who flee the alienages. Others attack humans on sight. The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Tevinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past, and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
We'll talk.
Goodbye. Good afternoon.
I need to know more.
He has lost his army. He will need to demonstrate that no one in this world can stand against his magic.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Of course. Oh, my maker, you cannot imagine how many letters I've received about the fracas at Hallam Sharal. Fortunately, you tied twice as many threads as cut, although it is yet bewildering at the center.
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
With Skyhold shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
There are problems coming out of Hallam Sharal?
There are always problems from Hallam Sharal. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've had enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
What's going on now?
I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be... Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus, everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
I think you'd make an excellent divine.
Truly? I never look good in hats. Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate.
Liliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Liliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
So this is your new...
I've agreed to nothing.
And if the Chantry calls on you?
Then I will do whatever I can. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak... For now, restoring order and stopping I trust all is well.
So, you're a candidate for...
So I am...
Is that...
Why should what I want matter? It is very... I have never... So I look upon this as an opportunity. I owe it to myself and all of Thedas to seek the Sunburst throne.
I think you'd make an
Thank you. Let's hope the Chantry clerics agree.
That's enough for...
Another time, then.
Want a drink? I've a hankering for company. When I was a boy, there were these urchins who roamed the streets near my father's house. One day, they found a dog. A wretched little thing. It came to them for food. They caught it, tied a rope around its neck, and strung it up. Do you know what I did?
You stopped them? Cut the dog down?
I did nothing. Not a damn thing. It was crying. I saw the kicking legs, the neck straining and twisting. And I turned around, went inside, and closed the door. I could have told my father, or alerted someone. I didn't. I just pretended it wasn't happening.
You couldn't have been the only one there, and no one else stepped in.
Doesn't make what I did any less wrong. I may as well have tied the noose myself. We could make the world better. It's just easier to shut our eyes.
When we first met, you were saving peasants from demons and outlaws. You're not a man who shuts his eyes. A little insane, maybe.
Of course you'd make light of it. You make saving the world look easy. The rest of us can only dream of matching what you've done. Don't you see? It's not just about what happened back then. There's always some dog out there. Some fucking mongrel that doesn't know how to stay away.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
I hate politics.
You've got a crappy job then, boss. Man, those serving girls are frisky.
See you later, Bo.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Long day.
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
What did you think of the masks?
What masks?
The masks. Everyone had them on their faces.
Those weren't their faces.
I'd like to talk about what happened to you before we met.
Before you, Rhys was my friend. He showed me I was wrong to kill the mages. I thought I was helping them. Then he and Evangeline went to Adamant, and I went with them. I was worried Evangeline would hurt Rhys. We found out dangerous things. It scared Seeker Lambert, and he scared the mages. It started the rebellion. Seeker Lambert told me what I was. Rhys couldn't look at me. I ran until I found more Templars. That's all.
What was the Spire like when the Mage Rebellion started?
Dead and dying, begging and bloody. Some wanted freedom, some peace, some... Evangeline was a Templar. Adrian was a mage. But she killed mages to force the fight. Rhys just wanted to help. To stop people hurting. Maybe that's why he saw me.
What can you tell me about Rhys?
He was a mage. He saw me when most couldn't, and he remembered. He helped me, and I watched over him. I worried Evangeline would hurt him. She was a Templar, but she didn't like hurting people. When I left, she stayed. They should have been with the rebels. Maybe they ran away together instead. Neither of them liked...
If you like, I could...
No. If they are alive... The last time he saw me, he... let him forget.
What did you mean?
Some of the mages at the Spire wanted to die. Too sad, too scared, too much. I didn't know what I was. A ghost, I thought. Fading in the fade. When I came to them, I used the knife to set them free. When Rhys found out, he made me... There were other ways to help. I didn't know.
It sounds like you didn't know it.
No, I killed people. I knew. They were hurting, helpless, haunted. It was wrong. I was wrong. If I start again, you or Cassandra or Cullen need to kill...
What can you tell me about it?
It is old, full of... Thank you for not making me go. I'm hiding Reese from him, but he chants words and sees. I won't let you hurt Reese. My nose explodes. Just another parasite that's wormed its way into our world. What we found at Adamant made him angry. We were the first rock rolling, and he killed so many. He didn't care. Cold, corrupt. So I came and killed.
If you hated Seeker Lambert, why go to the Seeker Fortress?
Because he was right. I was a demon. I saw demons at Adamant. They put people in the dark, in the old hurts. I didn't want to be that. I heard the old songs of the Templars at Val Royeaux, and if I forgot, fought, fell to felling, Templars would kill the demon. I wouldn't hurt anyone again. Probably.
Would that I could. I suppose you're right.
Inquisitor.
What's been going?
Sister Liliana glanced at me today. I think she's gonna have me killed.
I should go.
I wonder what it is that gives Grey Wardens their legendary skill and stamina. I should like to study one. Would that fine fellow I've seen in your company consent to a careful examination? Good day, Your Worship.
Well, that's one problem solved. What? The champion. You were shitting yourself. Problem solved, right?
One for the Empress. For Gaspard. Briala. The Duchess. And Corypheus. Right in the dangle bag.
All right, you're clearly annoyed. What can I do?
You're doing fine. It's the dead piled up in Halam Sharal that's nagging at me. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a butt for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. Want to stop a party, I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an empress. That, and Briala being an idiot. The whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots. Love seeing you, yeah?
I'll be back if I need you.
Go on.
No, they don't.
It's just what I...
Have you seen otherwise?
True enough.
Right, sir. Of course.
Inquisitor.
What's the word out there?
The servants of the Empress sent us a crystal glass full of rose petals cradling a single golden pear. I mean, I assume.
What's the current mood?
Willful. Inquisition.
Commander Cullen did good work at Adamant. Breached those walls like he'd done it. Nice job with the demons, by the way.
Good to see you, boss.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Of course.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
What do you think of the people?
Who do you mean? Inquisitor?
Is there...
Creating Inquisition footholds. We've received a number of recruits eager to pledge themselves to our cause. Of course. South Reach has experienced the same chaos.
You still...
Our Knight Commander Meredith's methods were harsh, but they kept people safe.
You've said...
She was my... Meredith... I believed she was serving the city. I never thought to question her.
I hope you find the...
The Inquisition is my chance to atone.
Do you think Templars should cease to exist?
No. I may have chosen to leave that life, but I respect those who remain. Magic ungoverned could tear the world apart. It's doing so now. Templars are... And there must... Templars can lose... Some atrocities haunt me still. But to lose what good I can recall...
Do you think that could work?
Mages would be watched, but could pursue interests outside the circle. Neither freedom nor
The Inquisition...
To be honest, I hadn't given it much thought.
That's all.
I'm sure...
Samson, Templar fame, raise your shield of shame. Samson's letter caught, left unfought, defamed.
Well, let me know if you find one.
Armor laced with blood shall reclaim his name. Samson's broken heart shall revoke his claim. Samson's knight in red, he hath lost his way. Samson's martyr rage soon the world will pay.
No, they don't.
It's just what I heard.
There is an issue that you should address. I think it's worth your time, Inquisitor. I hope to serve the cause, Inquisitor.
It's Taven's party.
The one after Elfie history? Figures. That's a bunch of dead all the way back.
These are our men.
I want the rest of that seal.
wonderful to rid the world of these cretins.
Now I stink like them.
Take that, you filth!
Search them. Maybe we can figure out what they were after.
The Emerald Knights. They once patrolled the borders of the Dales, protecting the elven people. The Dalish saw them as romantic heroes. The Chantry called them ruthless butchers. I suspect both sides have some element of truth.
Weapons ready!
Got to be something here. let me do it. Just let me do it.
You know, I'll bet I could do that.
Want help with that?
another artifact. Good. That should help strengthen the veil.
These are our men.
Any who serve Corypheus willingly deserve no mercy. Let us thin their ranks. There must be something here.
This is it. Whatever Taven hoped to find, it's here.
Perhaps it just needs the magical touch.
It's an account of Red Crossing. When the elves attacked that town, it prompted the exalted March of the Dales.
Taven would want the Dalish to have this.
I imagine the Chantry would be interested in it as well.
More fellow countrymen. We should say hello.
These are our men.
It's good to see you again.
I found something about Red Crossing in Dinan Hanin.
If you went to the Emerald Graves, did you see Tavin and the others?
They were killed. I'm sorry.
I am too. Sorry, but not surprised. Thank you for bringing this to me. It is part of our tale and will be cherished. May your gods watch over you, friend. You have proven yourself to be an ally of the Dalish, friend. If Lorinel still wishes to join you, he has my blessing. May your gods watch over you, friend.
I don't believe it. You convinced the Keeper. He said I can join the Inquisition if I wish.
Keeper...
He has.
Carry on, Aiden.
Aneth Ara, Herald.
I'll take my leave.
You will always be welcome.
and water and something brushed against my leg. Shut it. I'm right. It's wrong and horrible.
Another blighter fall! Ah, sulfur. It was always a good day at the Varantium Circle when the sulfur came out.
I can't make heads or tails of this.
What can I do for you, my dear? Is it too much to hope that you've brought me the heart of the snowy wyvern?
If you want the wyvern's heart, you'll tell me what you're using.
I can do better, darling. Give me the heart, and I'll show you what it's for.
All right?
How kind of you. Please accept this as your payment. I must begin work immediately. You have been a dear friend, and I would like you to come with me. This should only take a moment, Inquisitor. I'm here, my darling.
Vivienne,
Yes, darling.
it's going to be all right, my love.
My darling? Bastian?
Vivienne, I'm sorry.
There's nothing here now. Bastien is dead. I can hardly believe. It was the Wintersend Ball. My first visit to the Imperial Palace. The Circle sent a dozen of us to entertain the nobility. I was in awe of everyone and everything, and then our eyes met. Bastien spent the entire ball at my side. The Dowager tried to have him killed for slighting her, but he didn't care.
Falling in love across a crowded ballroom. Sounds like something out of a children's story.
He was a dashing rogue, and any defects he might have had were made up for with rank and importance. It was a more innocent time, I suppose. And now he's gone, and I must write to his son Laurent. And his sister will make a terrible fuss if she isn't informed first. And I'll need to arrange for the Chantry services. Maker only knows how long that will take.
If I can help you, just say the word.
No, my dear. I'll handle everything. Excuse me, I have so much to do. I always have time for you, my dear.
The Spy Master has confirmed it. Blackwall is gone.
He would not have left unless he had a good reason.
It is not for me to speculate on Blackwall's motivations. Sister Leliana had us search the Warden's quarters. Not much to find, except this. It was missing from last week's reports. I don't know what Blackwall's interest in this particular matter.
We'll train more when you're free. Champion.
Cyril Mornay, for your crimes against the Empire of Orlais. For the murders of General Vincent Callier, Lady Laurette Callier, their 4 children, and their retainers. You are sentenced to be hanged from the neck until dead. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Very well.
Ah. Human justice.
Poor bastard. So, where's food? Orlesians always stock these things.
Proceed.
Stop!
A Grey Warden.
This man is innocent of the crimes laid before him. Orders were given, and he followed them like any good soldier. He should not die for that mistake.
Then find me the man who gave the order.
Blackwall! No, I am not Blackwall. I never was Blackwall. Warden Blackwall is dead, and has been for years. I assumed his name to hide like a coward from who I really am.
You, after all this time.
It's over. I'm done hiding. I gave the order. The crime is mine. I am Tom Rainier.
In the Inquisition? Red Jenny? How's that fit?
She's making sure they don't forget us.
Hope she still has time for us.
Can you
There's
believe
trouble up
it?
the
Tom
Vicious
Rainier
estate with the
himself.
grubby air.
Goodbye.
She's everywhere. How does she find the time?
A very good question.
They'll appoint a new divine soon. One on
The Winter Palace assaulted. Duchess Flora.
Please calm yourself. You'll cause yourself harm.
Celine lives.
I didn't take Blackwall's life. I traded his death. He wanted me for the Wardens, but there was an ambush. Darkspawn. He was killed. I took his name to stop the world from losing a good man. But a good man, the man he was, wouldn't have let it.
You saved that man. That took courage.
Courage? I killed innocent people. One moment of courage will not make... Why are you here?
I needed you to know you aren't alone in...
Don't you understand? Those... Yes?
I need to know about Black...
We met in a tavern when I was on the run. We headed to Valchavan for the joining. But Blackwall insisted on making an old ruin from one of the previous blights. He said it led to the deep roads. I was to go down alone, find a darkspawn, and fill a vial with its blood. When I returned, I found the He took a blow for me. He shouldn't have died. It should have been me.
It was a heroic act.
I wasn't worthy. But without Blackwall, there's no proof that I've been recruited. I couldn't go to the Wardens. So, Rainier died. And Blackwall lived.
Who were you before?
I was a captain in the Orlesian army. Well, one mistake. One mistake and everything I worked for fell apart. My second in command, when I heard he'd been caught, couldn't let another die for my mistake. I betrayed the Empire and assassinated a general. The man was General Vincent Callier. My employer was a Chevalier. Sir Robert believed that Grand Duke Gaspard was the rightful ruler of Orlais and would eventually take the throne. I can't say if Robert's plan would have worked. By the time Sir Robert's involvement was uncovered, of course the Grand Duke disavowed any knowledge of the act and publicly condemned it. Robert killed himself. Poison in his wine. Another victim of the great game.
You got your men to help you.
They didn't know who they were. I told them it was an important... just as your men trust you.
Our men follow me.
They believe it because that's what you tell them.
I report...
I didn't know Callier would be traveling with his family. My men have been told to eliminate everyone. No one likes to think about that. No matter how leaders like Celine or Gaspard pretend
that should...
War... But you're right. There was no need for what I did.
There's another thing.
Yes.
That's all.
I have Liliana's report on Tom Rainier.
Give me the overview.
Looks like our friend was once a respected captain in the... Before the Civil War, he was turned, persuaded to assassinate one of Celine's biggest... He led a group of fiercely loyal men on this mission, and told them nothing of it. His men took the fall for him. A few lucky ones, like Mornay, managed to escape.
This is helpful.
Don't blame yourself. We all made this mistake. What do we do now? Blackwall... Rainier has accepted his fate, but you don't have to. If he's released to us, you may pass judgment on him yourself.
Have Rainier released.
We must move quickly.
You were certain of these rumors? he likes them. True. It's good to see you.
What do the people...
There's scarcely a noble house that hasn't openly pledged its support to us.
Let's...
Another time.
That Dalish elf who joined us is eager, to say the least.
The Dalish possess great knowledge. We should be honored to have him with us. With an Illuvion, Corypheus could cross into the Fade in the flesh.
Indeed. The Inquisitor can attest that these artifacts still work if one knows how to use them.
What happens when Corypheus enters the Fade?
Why, he will gain his heart's desire and take the power of a god. Or, and this is more likely, the lunatic will unleash forces that tear the world apart.
I won't allow it. I can't.
Pardon me, but does this mean everything's lost unless we get to the Illuvion before him?
Corypheus has a head start, no matter how quickly our army moves.
We should gather our allies before we march.
Can we wait for them? We should send our spies ahead to the Arbor Wilds.
Without support from the soldiers, you'd lose half of them.
Then what should we do?
You overcome it, all three of you together. Josephine, have our allies send scouts to meet us in the wilds. Liliana, your fastest agents will join them. Together, we'll have enough spies to slow down Corypheus' army until Cullen's soldiers arrive.
Such confidence. But the Arbor Wilds are not so kind to visitors. Old elven magic lingers in those woods.
We'd be remiss to not take advantage of your knowledge, Lady Morgan. Please, lend us your expertise.
'Tis why I came here, although it is good to see its value recognized.
Any further instructions, Inquisitor?
The Inquisition began as a handful. I could ask for no
I speak.
We'll hound Corypheus.
How goes the battle?
The Red Templars fall. Our scouts saw Corypheus traveling towards an elven ruin to the north. We can clear you a path through his armies.
Do only what you must.
We will not fail you.
I wonder, is it Andraste your soldiers invoke during battle, or does a more immediate name come to their lips?
They show me respect, Morrigan. No one
True. You are far more likely to come to their aid than a chantry fable. But I digress. If your scouts report accurately, I believe these ruins to be the Temple of Mathar.
Which is?
A place of worship out of elven legend. If Corypheus seeks it, then the Illuvian he covets lies within. Let us hope we reach this temple before the entire forest is reduced to ash.
Are the soldiers ready?
As ready as they can be.
For judgment this day, Inquisitor, I must present Captain Tom Rainier, formerly known to us as Warden Blackwall. His crimes... well, you are aware of his crimes. It was no small expense to bring him here, but the decision of what to do with him is now yours.
I didn't think this would be easy, but it's harder than I thought.
Another thing to regret. What did you have to do to release me?
Josephine called in a few favors. There are enough people out there who owe the Inquisition.
And what happens to the reputation the Ambassador has so carefully cultivated? The world will learn how you've used your influence. They'll know the Inquisition is corrupt.
Once the world is back to normal, no one will even remember this.
I'll remember. I accepted my punishment. I was ready for all this to end. Why would you stop it? What becomes of me now?
You have your freedom.
It cannot be as simple as that.
It isn't. You're free to atone as the man you are, not the traitor you thought you were, or the warden you pretended to be.
The man I am. I barely know him. But I have a lot to make up for. If my future is mine, then I pledge it to the Inquisition. My sword is yours. If I'd said anything less, would an arrow from the rookery have snuffed me like a candle?
Take your post, Tom Rainier.
We'll train more when you're free.
Inquisitor?
How shall I refer to you? Rainier or Blackwall?
I've gotten used to Blackwall. Perhaps we could treat it as less of a name and more of a title. Almost like Inquisitor. Reminds me of what I ought to be.
Doesn't matter to me.
Thank you.
Nothing right now. Perhaps in a bit.
It's just as I remember it.
You didn't tell me you'd been here before.
After the Blight ended, I came here to see Justinia. She was just Dorothea then, a revered mother. I needed her wisdom after the hero of Ferelden died.
I didn't expect it to be so... deserted. It makes me uneasy.
It's a small village, and it's too early for the chant. I'm sure the sisters are somewhere.
Liliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No, I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lord, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
You owe me 20 readings of the Canticle of Trials for that insult.
He doesn't mean it. Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here. Justinia's letter came with instructions for me. They were a little cryptic. Always remember that faith sprung from a barren branch, that light has no fear of darkness. Above all, that strength lives in an open heart.
She must be hinting at something in here. Let's look around.
Do they still sing verses from the benedictions every Friday? That canticle was Justinia's favorite. I stare up at the breach sometimes. It's terrifying, but beautiful in its way.
It is beautiful.
Have you seen it by sunrise?
When the sun rises through it, it splits into what looks like 1,000 suns, like a broken mirror.
Yes, spectacular, isn't it? You must be careful, Natalie. Justinia's enemies are making their move, vying for position and the Sunburst throne. What was that? Looks like we opened something. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Good old Liliana was playing you the whole time. Didn't you realize?
They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickleweed burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dales, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist.
Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her.
An experienced cleric. She never... I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move.
I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here.
She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thedas away from the true Chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And Victoire thinks she can ally with them.
If we let her go, she'll just run off to her cleric, won't she?
Likely.
Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
This has to be done. You know it.
I see what you've become. The righteous stand before the darkness, and the Maker shall guide them.
No! This can't be it. There's nothing here.
Check again. Perhaps the box itself is a puzzle. She seemed the puzzling sort.
No, it's just an empty box. There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me. Just like I'd been. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia she needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
Sacrifices are necessary.
I know. And hearing you agree gives me the courage to do what must be done. Justinia tried to save me, but all it's done is made me realize I don't need saving. There is work to be done.